Hey guys, welcome to the next video. In this one, we're going to be talking about status effects that will be found throughout the video game. These are going to be beneficial and harmful. So the first one we're going to be talking about is going to be Unstoppable and Unblockable. These are going to be personal. So Unstoppable is when your attacks glow blue. You'll see this on some mobs as well. Basically what this means is that your attack can be blocked or parried, but you can't be staggered out of it. So if somebody hits you, it's not going to stop the attack. The other one is going to be Unblockable. Now these are going to be red. These will happen when you'll see the weapons glowing red. These are basically the same as if you were unstoppable, but they cannot be blocked or parried. Also in this clip, I'm displaying Stagger and Knockdown. Knockdown you just saw when you get hit with an unblockable attack by a warrior like that, you do get knocked into the ground and then you become immovable for a second. Stagger occurs when you get hit repeatedly and cannot perform actions between those attacks. In this section of the video, we're going to be displaying what silence looks like when it's on you or another character by that blue swirl around your head. When you are silenced, you cannot perform any action other than evading or running around. Very dangerous. Alright, so in this clip, we're going to be talking about Penitence, which is a priest-specific status effect. And what this does is when you are affected by Penitence, you're going to glow with sparks of like purple and yellow. And the dangerous part about being affected by Penitence is that any attack done to you or the mob will heal the priest. As you're going to see here in a second, you'll see the green numbers floating up to the left of the character. Now I can't attest to this with all of the status effects. I can't really quite remember at the moment, but each status effect, this one included, does last on your character or other characters for quite a while. So these are pretty dangerous. The next status effect we're going to be talking about is going to be a stun, which is going to be displayed over your character by a yellow swirl that's going up into the air. I'm going to do that here again in just a second once the cooldown comes off of the ability. And the next thing we're going to be talking about is going to be poison. So here in a second I'm going to hit with poison, and then you'll see there's a percentage marker that's popping up next to the enemy as I'm attacking it. Don't mind the hunter that decided to shoot me during this clip, but you'll see it had a percentage going up to 100%, letting you know that's actually a fairly new thing that they just put into the game. Lets you know how close a target is to get. Now we're going to be talking about Hemmorhage, which is a bleed effect, and just like poison, you're going to see a percentage mark for when you know that something's about to be afflicted by the hemorrhage, and then you'll see it distinguished by the blood marks above the head and then blood spurts as someone is bleeding out, taking damage from the duct. Alright, now we're going to be talking about disease. So with disease, what happens when you get afflicted by this, your stamina is effectively reduced by 50%. It's uncommon to see this one, but it can be dangerous when used properly. Alright, and here on the wizard, we're going to be talking about Combustion first. Combustion is caused by getting hit enough times by fire damage, and what will happen is it'll be a little bit hard to see in the video, but when you get affected by Combustion, you're going to get a red sphere that glows all over your torso, and it will explode for big fire damage when it erupts. Alright, the next thing we're going to be talking about is Stasis. So this is basically electrical damage. When you get fully afflicted by Stasis damage, you will become stunned. I do want to point out that while you do see a silence effect happening over the mob during Stasis, this is just part of that particular spell's ability. It's not unique to Stasis. Alright, so the next thing we're going to be talking about with the wizard is going to be a few things. We're going to be talking about Frostbite, rooting, and snaring. It's all going to happen at the same time. So Frostbite is going to build the same as any other affliction, but then you'll notice here at the foot of the target dummy, it's glowing with a little yellow, and that is going to be when you're getting snared. That's just going to effectively reduce your movement speed. There are many different ways to cause someone to become snared in the game. Now, the difference between snare and root is you are stuck in place when you're rooted. You cannot move at all. The way you can tell is it looks the exact same as the snare with the yellow, but instead it looks red. And then also you'll be able to see Frostbite here. Alright, in this clip, while it does look like we're going to be talking about fall damage, we aren't. You can die from fall damage. That's one thing to note while you are running away or just running around through the map. You can die from fall damage, but that's not the important part here. We're talking about wounds. So when you get hit by a hard enough attack or take enough damage, you're going to get wound damage, which is going to display on your health bar as a grayed out area. Now, if you use a potion, that health will not come back until you use a bandage to remove the wound. Wounds are displayed on your character by bleed and cut marks that are a little bit difficult to see on the screen, but you'll see it here and again in a second as I start causing more wound buildup. There are certain classes that can take advantage of you having more wound. A warrior can deal increased damage to you if you have more wounds, so it's very important that while you're in the middle of a fight that you try to reduce how many times you get hit, obviously, but then also try to keep your wound down so that you're not getting dealt more damage. Alright, there are a few things I wanted to talk about that I was unable to display in the video just because of finding the mobs out in the world is a little bit more difficult. So there are some mobs that will cause a status effect called Ruin. And what happens when you get afflicted by Ruin is you die. So you want to avoid that as best as possible. Another one is Curse. When you get fully afflicted by Curse, your armor is reduced by 50% for about 3 minutes. I believe most things are around 3 minutes as far as status effects are concerned. The other stuff is that there's also an incapacitate effect. It's very similar to stun, however, it is displayed by a purple swirl and it is taken off of you immediately as soon as you receive damage. The last two things that I want to talk about in this video are resistances and your resilience. So, resilience first. After you're affected by so many different forms of crowd control, stunning, incapacitating, all of these things, once you're afflicted by enough of them, you will gain resilience, which essentially looks like you're stamming out, but you're actually glowing yellow. There will be a video later on in this series that will show that. While I'm in the middle of a fight, you'll see it later on. But basically, when you have that, you're immune to crowd control. You are able to just kind of run forward or run away without too much inhibition. The way that your resistance works is basically as a second health bar. You don't see it though. Basically, say you have 1,000 poison resistance, you're going to have to be dealt 1,000 poison damage and build up before you get afflicted by poison. Alright everybody, that's it for the status effects video. I hope you're enjoying so far. Next up, we're going to be talking more specifically about classes.